All right, let's dive right into this explainer. You know, when we hear the phrase high IQ children, our minds almost immediately jump to expensive flashcards, private tutors, maybe those advanced learning tablets. We picture kids solving complex math equations or going to elite, super expensive preschools. But what if one of the absolute biggest factors influencing a child's intelligence isn't actually something you can buy? What if it's something incredibly simple, something a lot of parents do every single day without even realizing how profoundly important it is?
So, to find out what really builds high intelligence, we've got to look away from the classroom for a second and look inside the home. Researchers have actually discovered that the strongest predictors of cognitive development happen way before a child ever sets foot in a school. And to understand how this works, let's look at a completely ordinary, everyday routine, a simple diaper change.
Picture this. You've got two parents caring for a baby. The first parent changes a diaper in total silence. It's efficient, it's quick, it's just another chore to check off the to-do list, right? Now imagine the second parent. Instead of just rushing through it in silence, they treat the baby as a totally active participant in the world. They talk, and they explain the whole process as it's happening.
This parent is saying things like, "Okay, let's take off your socks. Now we're changing your diaper. Look at these tiny feet. After this, we're going to grab some lunch." Now, I know to a lot of people this might seem totally unnecessary. I mean, a baby can't exactly hold a conversation with you about their tiny feet, so why even bother? Well, as it turns out, this constant, deliberate narration is actually the core of a seriously powerful cultural practice. And that brings us to a fascinating concept known as katarike. It's a Japanese parenting habit that scientists believe profoundly strengthens the absolute foundations of language, memory, and problem solving. It's simply the act of narrating daily life to a child. Parents describe what they're doing, they explain completely ordinary activities, and they speak to their babies as if they're fully active participants in their shared world. It sounds so basic, but the cognitive effects are absolutely massive.
Let's move into section 1, the art of katarikake, and why meaning matters way more than just vocabulary. Think about this. A child's brain is developing faster in those first few years of life than at almost any other point they'll ever experience. When a child hears an ordinary routine being narrated, their brain doesn't just hear random noise. It's actively working to recognize patterns, learning the relationships between those spoken words and the physical world around them. Every single conversation, every sound, every little interaction acts as a vital building block. By hearing this rich descriptive language, those neural connections physically strengthen. It translates an everyday experience into a robust, high-speed cognitive pathway.
Now you might be wondering, hey, if it's really just about hearing words, why not just pop on a screen? I mean, a television pumps out thousands of words, often way more words per minute than a parent ever could. But here's the catch. Television words completely lack emotional context. They just kind of wash right over the child. Katarikake words, on the other hand, contain raw emotion. They have perfect timing, precise physical context, and deep human connection. A TV literally cannot compete with that. The developing brain craves meaning, and that meaning is forged through dynamic, real-life human interaction.
And the beauty of this is that Japanese parents don't wait for fluency to start. They do this right from day one. During meals, on walks, splashing around a bath time, and basically throughout all everyday routines. There's no scheduled learning hour because the learning is just seamlessly woven into ordinary life. By immersing children in this rich language from the very beginning, parents are naturally laying down the tracks for advanced cognitive development.
Okay, section 2. The power of pause and why listening matters just as much as speaking.
Look, we have all been there. A young child is trying to tell you this wild story, or explain something they just saw outside, and it is taking way too long. They're stumbling over their words, and the explanation is just getting incredibly messy. And what do? Many adults just instinctively interrupt. It's almost automatic for us to jump in, finish their sentence for them, correct their grammar, and just move things along to save time.
But Katarike takes a beautifully slow approach. Step 1, just giving them the time to finish their thoughts. Step 2, giving them the time to actually search for those tricky words. And step 3, giving them the space to truly express themselves. We literally have to physically slow down and offer the child that critical space. Why? Because thinking and language develop together. If you jump in and interrupt their language process, you are essentially short-circuiting their thought process.
Moving right along to Section 3, Cultivating Focus and Curiosity.
Imagine a kid pointing up at the sunset and asking, "Why is the sky changing color?" Now, the standard response for a lot of us is to quickly drop a science fact about light refraction, satisfy the question, and move on. But Katari Neki encourages a totally different route. Instead of rushing to be a human encyclopedia, parents use the moment to push the discussion even further. They might say, well, what colors do you see up there? Or where do you think the sun is going right now? This sparks deep observation. It turns a fleeting moment of curiosity into a literal habit of inquiry.
And this brings us to a fundamental truth. Curiosity is absolutely one of the strongest drivers of learning we have. True intelligence isn't just about passively memorizing facts, it's about fundamentally wanting to discover those facts in the first place. If you can nurture a child's deep desire to ask questions, to observe, to really explore, you are handing them the ultimate engine for lifelong cognitive growth.
But here's the thing. Curiosity needs an anchor, and that anchor is focus. In our modern world of demanding screens and instant gratification, real focus is becoming incredibly rare. But these traditional habits, simply observing nature, completing basic routines, helping sweep the floor, or just truly, quietly listening during a family conversation, these things train a child's brain to remain engaged with the present moment. And they do it without needing constant, loud, flashing stimulation.
Which leads us to this huge realization. Attention is the gateway to learning. Honestly, it doesn't matter how naturally smart or gifted a child might be, learning becomes nearly impossible the second attention disappears. By building focus in everyday, mundane tasks, you are keeping that gateway wide open. And finally, Section 4. Connection creates intelligence.
This might just be the most important paradigm shift of this entire explainer. In this framework, intelligence is not viewed as a fixed trait. You aren't just born with a set amount of smart that you're stuck with forever. Children aren't expected to magically become geniuses overnight. Instead, intelligence is viewed as something flexible. It's something that is gradually nurtured, developed, and lovingly supported over years and years of daily interactions.
It's all about creating a holistic environment where learning naturally thrives. We're talking conversations, shared curiosity, shared responsibility, observation, attention, and deep connection. Did you notice what's missing from that list? Flashcards? Standardized tests? Expensive iPad apps? None of these daily habits are going to go viral on social media, for sure. But day by day, word by word, they powerfully shape the very architecture of how children think and process the entire world.
As the research so brilliantly puts it, the smartest investment in a child's future often begins with a simple conversation today. Ultimately, the real secret to high intelligence isn't some rigid, stressful technique or a crazy syllabus you force a toddler to memorize. It is the warm, human connection that makes learning feel perfectly natural, abundant, and welcoming.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to toss the ball over to you. What is one thing your parents did that encouraged your curiosity when you were growing up? Did they let you take apart old radios in the garage? Did they narrate the world to you like we talked about today? I would absolutely love to hear how your own environment shaped your desire to learn. Share your experiences below, and until next time, keep observing, keep pausing, and keep the conversation going.